It's Fixed Ops Friday, everybody. Let's brew. What's going on, Solutionaries? It's Ramirez, the car guy, and I'm here with the one, the only Owen Moon. What's going on, brother? Happy Fixed Ops Friday.
Yeah, hello, Lou. How are you doing, sir? It's been a while. We've had a crazy month, but I'm excited for our guest today. So we've been long overdue with this one. So
long overdue. I see what you did there, buddy. I see what you did. Heck yeah! Excited about this this conversation that we get to have with this car guy that's shaking things up from morning to night, from coast to coast. He is brewing solutions consistently, and we're excited to have him on the Fixed Ops Friday today. But you all know what you need to do to make sure that we maximize this opportunity, and that's tag a car guy, tag a car gal, and share. Get the word out there, everybody, because we have, for Fixed Ops Friday, the one, the only, David Long. Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to Ops Friday. How you doing today?
Buddy, I'm doing great. Anytime I get to spend with you two guys is going to be a great Friday, let me tell you.
Well, cheers to that. Cheers to that. Welcome to the party. We're excited that you're here. Owen, I mean, there's so much that's cooking inside of the business right now, and we got a Fixed Ops Friday live today. Why is it so important that we have Mr. David Long on the show today?
Well, we're in the dog days of summer. I think everyone's tired. Everyone's, just grinding it out. Obviously got a lot of people have kids stuff going on and things like that. So it's always good to sometimes just take a break and kind of listen to some of the visionaries of our industry. David, you have a good guess when you've had to reschedule 2 or 3 times because David's so darn busy, got a lot going on. So I'm okay with that. I'm like, we finally have him. We've got about 45 minutes probably of his time, and I know his time is very valuable. So I look up to David as a mentor of a guy that I respect a lot in the industry. He's been not only a good client of ours, but a guy that I can lean on, ask him questions anytime. And he's got some cool things he's doing with the service side of the business to help kind of give back to the industry, just like he's been doing for, a while now on the sales side. So, with that, I'm fully ready for me. I don't have coffee, but I've got some something to drink, and we're ready to roll here. So.
Heck yeah. Well, let's get this rocking and rolling. For all of you that are watching this on the live, make sure that you participate as much as possible. And if you're watching this on the replay, we want your input as well. So make sure that you have some fun with us today. Go ahead and ask questions if you want them. I'm sure that David would be able to get to them down the road. Owen too, and even this car guy. What's going on, Cindy? Zeba's up inside of the cafe today. So glad that you're here saying, hey, saying there's 3 great guys right here. We thank you so much for the love, Cindy. Keep brewing solutions. What's happening? Subprime Hero is in the mix. And look at this, peeking in is the one, the only,
there he is,
Miller himself. We are over here at Miller Motors. Right behind me, you got a bunch of mechanics doing their thing. So you might hear a little bit of that. You might hear a couple of things shaking, maybe a few things breaking. Who knows? But let's have some fun today. What's happening, Jeremy? Welcome to the party. So glad that you're here. All right, so let's get this brewing, everybody. So glad that everybody's here. Keep tagging car guys, keep tagging car gals, keep getting this rocking and rolling. All right, so real quick, David, there's a lot that's going on right now inside of the Fixed Ops world, digitally, on the ground, all over the place. What are some of the things that you're starting to feel inside of the climate, or some of the, hey, this is the emergency of the moment? Because there's always the emergencies of the moment, right? What would you say right now are the emergencies of the moment that are brewing inside of Fixed Ops right now?
Well, that it's our time. And what I mean by it's our time in the Fixed Ops side. Every OEM that I'm involved with, every OEM meeting I go to, It's off the charts. The growth is just double-digit growth on the fixed op side. So for those of us that are not experiencing that kind of growth, it is our time. So we got to figure out what it is we're missing or what we can do to make sure that before that ship sails out of the harbor, that we're on that ship. And one of the ways that we do it, by the way, is Fixed Ops Digital. And Owen did not tell me to say that, by the way.
Appreciate that.
I get no extra compensation. I don't get any thing in the mail. It is absolutely one of the secret weapons we have is using Fixed Ops Digital to help us stay dialed. And that's why some of our growth is where it is right now. So that's it. That's what I would say to start the show, Lou.
Yeah, David, I got a question. What's your background, right? I mean, I know this, but for the audience, is your background in fixed operations, or how does your journey get to where we're at today, or where you're at today?
Well, the benefit to doing this for 38 years is I've had a chance to do just about every position, and I have been a fixed ops trainer. I've trained advisors. I've been in the fixed ops department, but my primary focus when I grew up in the business was on the variable side, but I kept getting sucked into the fixed side. And then I'd get back to variable, I get sucked back in to fix. And I happen to love it. And the thing I love the most about it is it changes so fast. And there's so much I don't know that when I get involved, I can be like a kid that just started all over again. So just when I think I have figured out, I meet somebody like Lou or Fred or you, Owen, or some of these other fixed ops forums I'm in. And I'm like, holy smokes, how am I doing this for 4 decades and not know that? So it's super fun for me.
Yeah, the one thing I was talking to a buddy the other day about it, and I said, on the sales side, there's really not that many different ways to do it. Now, people have different things that they kind of different wrinkles, you could say, but it's pretty much the same thing, right? You've got to present the vehicle, you got to make it affordable, you got to talk about financing, you got to sell the car. I mean, that is pretty much our methodology to sell a car. What I have learned in just being in some of these forums, and we'll talk a little bit about yours here a little bit, David, but just throughout this journey for me is that there's a lot of different ways to run a service department. And so it is all over the place. And so when you look at it from that angle, there's not one size fits all. It's you got to look at your number of bays. You got to look at, what you have as far as technicians and experience and just your business, as a almost like a unique situation. And so that can make it tough.
There are a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways to sell cars too, but there's, let me just tell a quick story. So I'll never forget it. So I'm thinking I have it all figured out. I'm young, much, much younger than I am today. Have you ever met that young man?
Yes.
Or a young woman that has all the answers. They have the yeah, but everything you say is yeah, but you don't understand. And I thought I had it all figured out. And then I sat in a group of 20 people. We were considered to be the best 20 general managers in the country. I don't know how they scored that or aggregated that. It was probably just they pulled names out of a hat. But I'm convicted that I know exactly the only way to run the business. And I know for sure that my way is right. As they go around the room, luckily for me, I was the last one and not the first one. Had I been the first one and not the last one, I would have had a completely different reply. So as they went around, I started thinking, wait a minute, I see that person's numbers and they're crushing it. And they get to the 3 down. Wait a minute, they can't get that kind of result with that process. And then they get her, and I'm like, holy moly, by the time they got to about person 11, I thought, holy crap, it's not about the process. It's about the conviction, the belief, and the buy-in in a process more than the process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
And it was that day that I started to realize that there is a lot of ways to do it, but the only real way to do it is the way that you can get everybody bought into sort of rowing in the same direction. Because if it's the best, most profitable process, and you have all these people running in different directions, operating their own little sub business, that best process is not going to work out. So the best process to kind of pin that point down is the process that you get complete buy-in, support, and then follow through on.
Man,
that's good stuff.
Put that one, write that one down. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and that's pretty much kind of what I was trying to, allude to a little bit is just there's so many different ways to do it. And one thing, David, you're really big on, obviously, is getting people to get that buy-in and kind of talking about that belief system more than it is the process. Because, throughout the years, the process is going to evolve. It's going to adjust. But having the right teammates and having people all bought into the main mission, which is, customer retention and serving the customer, that's the core, right? And then everything else kind of falls under that. So
true.
I always lose the popularity contest when I say this. And for guys like you, that it's really not about selling parts, fixing cars. People get upset with me when I say this. It's about running a profitable business. Because great processes, great culture, great customer retention without profit doesn't last very long.
Doesn't go very far, yep.
So I tell people, say, are you in the parts and service and sales business? And I say, no, I'm really not. I'm in the net profit business because I can't care for the owner. I can't care for my family. And I can't care for the families that I support if we're not profitable.
Come on. So true. So true.
Yeah.
Fundamental business action. Steve Apicella jumps in here saying variable ops and fixed ops are both critically important, but the two departments can't be run like two separate companies under one dealer roof. It's today's reality and tactical error. Unify the dealer customer ownership experience before and after the vehicle sale. If anyone desires anything more than the one-time transaction. Come on. Robert's over here throwing a little bit of an amen to that, saying, yeah. Steve, you are 100% true. And that's a CGC approved comment. Thank you so much, Stephen, for jumping in here. Anybody disagree? I mean, I think that we're all beating the same drum over here. We have to be unified in order to have a team assembled on a basketball court or a football field. They all understand that we all get the score together, no matter who gets the touchdown, no matter who gets the basket. Every single hand involved is designed to put scores on the board. From the coaches to the water boys, everybody's part of the party. And when we are beating on that same drum, when we are wearing the same logo and living like we are, that's when we're unified. Unified and uniform doesn't mean that you are exactly the same, right? It doesn't mean that it is necessarily a carbon copies of each other. The sales department's still going to be the sales department, but they have to run in tandem. And I think this is why we love doing these shows so much, because we get more of the conversation with people that are wanting to understand that there's so many bites of the apple with the customer relationship, and there's so many different touch points for us to keep engaged with the customer. But we lose sight of that sometimes right after the sale, or sometimes right after the service, right? And until we get the language to where we're passing the baton back and forth and keeping them in the family, we're going to keep seeing them go different directions, whether it's to buy someplace else or to fix someplace else. And that's why I love how Fixed Ops Digital does push the envelope to make sure that it is cutting edge, to make sure that customers are constantly in contact and coming back to the store. So absolutely agree with that, David. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Robert, and everybody else that's part of the party. Inside of that, recognizing that is what most leaders want. And David, I know that you're a great voice to so many people inside of the industry. What would be one of the first points you would have focused on when you're pulling your leaders together to say, listen, we have to have a unified language? What are some of the first things that you start to get them kind of marching in step with?
That's a great question. For us in this culture, it's a non-negotiable. Like, it's not that we're not going to have issues with each other. It's how we deal with the issues. So I have this thing called Step Zero. Have you ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
I think I've heard you explain it before, yes. But please.
So you talked about process, and everybody has, a 5-step process, a 3-step, a 10-step. Well, before every single one of our processes, we have Step Zero. And Step Zero is all about the attitude, the energy, and the approach. And it's the attitude we bring to the room with one another It's the energy we bring into the space with each other, and it's the way we approach each other. That's step 0. So it's 0 tolerance. And if I have an issue with Owen, Owen's going to be the one that knows about it. Lou is not going to know about it. Owen and I are going to sit down and we're going to clear the air, and it might get uncomfortable, but we're going to lean in and we're going to get past it. If we can't lean and get past it, guess what we're going to do?
Going to agree to disagree.
No, we're going to call Lou in.
Oh, yeah.
And then Lou's going to come in and he's going to hear Owen's point. He's going to hear my point. He's going to be like, you know what? I hear you guys. But here's there's 3 sides to every story. There's David's side, there's Owen's side, and then there's the side that makes the most sense to the company. And then we all agree at that point on how we're going to take the hill. And when we close that door and move forward, we're moving forward in lockstep. We're not moving forward with a chip on our shoulder. We're not moving forward with bad energy next time that person comes in the room. We're not moving forward with a hidden agenda and some sort of undercurrent of negativity. It's like, man, we're going to go out. We're going to show our team that we are a united front and we're all on the same page. We're all on the same team. They just saw us have conflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not hiding the fact that we had conflict, but they got a chance to see how we resolved it, and that makes us stronger as a team. So that, for me, is step 0, which is the most important of all steps to any process ever. And that's why I say we have 0 tolerance.
I love it. Having a team that you have a short, memory basically when it comes to that stuff, I think is very important because, in family, there's a lot of times you have resentment, you have long-term grudges, that's family. But when you have your work family, you have to have a short memory because the thing's going so fast that if you take that conversation that's maybe not pleasant or some sort of a disagreement and you carry it on, it's just going to snowball. And that's when you start to really lose the culture. And honestly, you lose the efficiencies and the effectiveness of what you're doing as well, because there will be strife, across the board. So I love it, David.
There's no doubt.
Step 0, I love it. I've never heard it before. That's awesome.
And this will be the last time you guys invite me on the show, but I'm taking here. You know who that is?
Hold on. Oh, Dory.
What's Dory? What's the significance with Dory?
Short-term memory loss.
There you go.
You're moving right on. You're on to the next thing.
Right. Heck yeah.
You forgive, focus, and fly, right? That's Dory.
That's Dory.
And guess who this is?
Oh.
Man, you got a friend in me. If I'm an ass all the time because I'm pissed off about something that happened yesterday, you don't have a friend in me.
No.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And want to know? And here's the last one. This is the reason you're not going to ever invite me back.
Old SpongeBob.
So I need to be able to soak in what you're telling me and not listen to reply, but listen to understand. So we got SpongeBob that needs to be soaking it up so I can fully understand and feel where you're coming from. Got to make sure you always have a friend in me. And when you piss me off, the minute we get past it, I got to be Dory and keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. If I could just have one leadership meeting, these 3 characters are all you need to think about to run a company. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, that's awesome.
I can't wait for the funny feedback we're going to get on that.
all the cartoon toys in David's office.
Listen, my wife says, you are so corny. You are so weird. How do you run $100 million business with cartoons on your desk?
Yeah.
That's how.
I don't know. Just for to protect them, we do not own the rights to use these cartoon characters. Because that's pretty big business, those cartoon characters do, right? And but that's what's important. Remember that we have so many different characters inside of our stores, inside of our dealership, inside of our departments, but there's still one big Disney. It's one big Magic Kingdom, right? And it's all designed to still flow together, though there's different sequences, or there's different parties, or there's different series, or there's different entire themes. It's still all Disney, and it still all has the same flow. And you can tell when this is a Disney production and when this is a not so Disney production. production,
and,
right?
and independent, right?
Right, exactly. That's so awesome. Now seeing that this is right now, so many things are happening on the used car side, on the understanding. This morning, David, you were even talking about how to be cautious of the data it is that you get, because although there's so much data out there, don't always believe the data without verifying, right? Inside of that, what are some of the things that you're seeing are having to be kind of brushed through a little bit different when putting together the campaigns and finding the people that we're reaching out to drive to our fixed ops department? Because though we have lots of people to talk to, right, we can create a flood and an overwhelming effect to our staff. So inside of that, how is it that you're picking the people that you go into your campaigns with as you work with somebody like Owen and Fixed Ops Digital and driving that traffic to that department?
That's you have Russia. Oh, that's so great. Hi, Robert.
Well, Robert,
Love Robert. Good dude.
I didn't know you were in the show this morning. So on All Things Fixed Ops today, I had some feedback. You can't have that as the topic. That's a weird topic. I'm all, obviously, with cartoon characters in my office, I'm all for weird. But the topic this morning was don't trust the data. And I don't believe there's, love the Disney references, but okay, I love that. Thanks, Felicia. So don't trust the data is the same thing. I never trust what I see on the surface. I always need to do a deeper dive before I make any decision. And oftentimes I'll reach out to an owner, Owen, or my performance manager that I absolutely love. She's an absolute rock star. And I'll gather feedback from that perspective. And then I'll dig in and get other feedback other than what meets the eye from my perspective. And then the decision, hopefully with the right input, gets made in a way that's going to help move the business forward. I'll give you an example. If I have an advisor that has a really high effective labor rate, he's not getting or she's not getting a high five and a belly bump until what?
Until that comes down.
No, until I understand if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's like on the
You
sales
got to understand
side.
the data. Yep.
So on the sales side, if somebody has a 70% look to book and I'm high-fiving and celebrating and everybody sees it, that is not necessarily a good thing. It could be that they're only finalizing the appraisals they believe they're going to take, and they're not finalizing all the appraisals. A high effective labor rate could be a result of, oh, that looks like a late model car. Oh, my stomach hurts. I got to use the restroom. Every time a late model car comes in, I got to leave the drive. That could be a function of that. So if I don't dig in and figure out what the whole truth is, not just the truth I see on a report, I'm going to make bad decisions every day. That's why I say do not trust the data until you have more than one data point. So I hope that answers your question.
So David, that was this morning, obviously Friday, it's all things used cars, right? And you're way over, I think, 100 some episodes on that. Obviously, that's been a great resource for, all the people in automotive, but, probably used car managers, sales managers, things like that, correct? You now started All Things Fixed Operations, which is Monday mornings. And that's the one that I have not missed an episode. I think I missed one episode because I was on a plane. But how did that come about? What made that decide that, hey, I want to spend another morning on Clubhouse? Because I'm sure you got so much going on. You had just one more day you needed to do Clubhouse in the morning. But what made that sort of come about? What was your vision on that? And are you seeing that kind of come to fruition?
Well, first, I am seeing it come to fruition. So the Clubhouse relationship started when COVID happened and we couldn't go out and meet in person. And I was feeling this sort of emptiness, not because I need to interrelate with everybody, because we have 500 people here I could go hang out with, right? But what I knew I wasn't getting was outside perspective. So I started with a few people. I said, I got this idea. I want to start All Things Used Cars. That was 115 weeks ago. And every single week, and go back to my show notes 115 weeks back, and I can pull one or two things out that I didn't know when that 60-minute session started. Think about that. Been doing this almost 40 years. I can go in and get that. And then I started thinking, well, shoot, it's not really my wheelhouse. I'm not really great at it. So why don't I be comfortable being uncomfortable and start an all things fixed operations room and really be vulnerable to hear and learn things that I probably just don't, because you don't know what you don't know, right? I can't ask a question I don't even know is a question. So I get a bunch of people. I think there's 400 or 500 people in all things fixed operation, and there's almost 3,000 people in all things used cars, and I get all these different perspectives, right? And some of it, some of it I don't agree with, but at least it makes me think and get more solid in the convictions I have. So it tests my sort of steadfastness on what I believe. But that's why it started, Owen. One, I don't like leaving. I work hard enough. I don't like jumping on a plane. So I thought, how can I get enough people together where I get perspectives without having to jump on a plane? And that's where it came from.
Yeah, and it's been, like I said, I've been a pretty big, advocate of it, participant of it. Obviously, we're a sponsor as well. And we enjoy it. I enjoy it because, coming from the variable side, I spent, 18 years mainly, as a consultant, agency guy. We did some service marketing, but it was a lot of direct mail and different things like that kind of coming up, through the industry. I never really actually sat in the back. I wasn't in the back of the shop, learning the business from that side. So, for me, it's all about educating myself, as you kind of said, being vulnerable and getting on that show is awesome because there's so many different people. You have trainers, you have, fixed ops directors, you have GMs, you have, yourself, Michael Weldon. I mean, these guys are all awesome fixed operations, professionals that bring their perspective. And so as a digital marketing company and as a technology company, it allows me to really kind of absorb and then, kind of debrief afterwards and go, is there something that I can do to help that issue, to help that challenge? Because I always feel like that's a vendor's job, is to solve problems or help dealerships solve problems. And that's what I've gotten out of it so far. And I mean, what are we at? 15 episodes, 16 episodes, something like that. But
yeah, I think 16. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been amazing so far. And I think it's only going to get better as it continues to grow in popularity and people know it's out there. So join us Monday morning, 8 a.m. Central.
Monday morning, 6 a.m. Pacific. Automotive News did a great article on it. And since then I've gotten a lot of people and a lot more interest. So again, this isn't self-serving.
No.
It's not about me selling anything. It's all about me pulling people together. And selfishly, it's so that when I leave that 60 minutes, I can leave it better than I started it. Right. So that's why it came to be.
Yeah. You kind of put yourself on mute for most of it and just kind of absorb it in. I mean, I've noticed that about you, is that you're not controlling that room as far as from, it's the David Long, I'm going to lead the, every discussion. You're just kind of simply bringing people in and getting their perspective and, just kind of make sense of it. Sometimes if they get a little windy, you sum it up really well for them. Right. So.
Thank you. Well, I'm sure there's some people that wish I could hit that mute button a little more often, but thanks for saying that.
No worries. No, if
there's anything David definitely does do, it's keep the conversation moving along, keeps everybody knowing where we're at on time, as it does come to an end. But I mean, you operate a very, very effective room and good conversation. So it's always good when we can get in there. So shout out to all those that do participate and are contributors in those mornings, because there's a lot of really great.
Oh, Lou froze up again. Oh well. Hey,
at least he doesn't have a funny look on his face. That's a good.
There you go. Take a screenshot of that. David, moving along here until we get Lou back. Hansel, your organization. What are you seeing? What are some of the initiatives you guys are doing? Are you guys looking to acquire stores? What if you could, don't tell me all the secrets, obviously, but what are you guys seeing from your store that really kind of is the focus kind of moving into the rest of this year and as we move into 2024? Anything that you guys are doing that maybe the average listener would say, oh, that's actually a good thing. It's something that we should maybe focus on.
So, well, we always want to buy more stores. That is a focus. Is it a primary focus? No, but we are. I wouldn't say aggressively pursuing, but open to and have looked at and are considering in the middle of considering buying a few more. But having said that, well, here's what our focus is, Owen, is basics. Like really, really dialing in the basics and raising our standards in areas we know we have more there. So here's what I just said. Areas where we know there's more there, we're basically focused, like laser focused on making sure that the basics are tight enough, the intensity is there, and everybody's clear on the mission. That is our primary focus right now. And by the way, we just came off of an all-time record year, as most people did. But even more impressively, we're tracking an even better year this year, especially on the used car side.
Well, and I think tell me if I'm wrong, but you probably have less turnover. You've got more people, making money. They're supporting their families, like you said. So they're bought into the mission. And so I always look at things and say, every time you have to start over, I mentioned this last Monday that usually the education or the expertise or the intellectual property goes away with the employee. So, not that you want to do that on purpose, but a lot of times that's just the way it works. And so having the same people on your team and in your environment, year in after year is only going to make you stronger, you would think.
I think, when I was thinking about coming on today, I don't even know if you want to go there or how much time we have left. But whether you're on the variable side or the fixed side, there's a silver bullet that I'm finding is impacting everything, especially the profitability of the company. Okay. And that's the buy center play.
Yes.
Because it impacts parts and service so directly. It impacts the sales department so directly. It impacts the income of the employee. So, if you don't have a buy center buying direct from a private party, I would tell anybody that's listening or anybody who listens to the replay that is the single one thing you could do to make us the biggest impact on your overall year-over-year performance.
That's so true, because I know when the inventory problem started to first happen, I was talking to some of my good dealer friends that I get a lot of insight from the industry on, because I'm not in the trenches every day on that side. It was, you know what, we're having some inventory problems. We're going to try to maybe buy some, but it should be a short-term thing, right? And then it just continues on. And now we're 18 months, almost 2 years into this. And if you do not have a plan to get inventory on your lot, the auctions aren't going to save you anymore. So, buying centers are obviously becoming more and more popular, and it's a whole new, process for the dealership. You got to find a team that can handle that and then really, make it effective for you. But yeah, if you didn't start it 18 months ago, you don't want to wait till tomorrow to start it. Start it now. So.
Well, here's what's interesting is you probably know this, but I have South Dakota, Texas, I could go on and on, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, and several other states that I've opened buy centers. I have my consulting business, and almost every one of those is averaging 25 purchases per agent.
Wow.
Averaging.
That's awesome.
And I'm not talking about ones that I've been working with for 2 years. I'm talking about ones that are 60 days in. One specifically is going to buy 60 cars this month with 2 buyers.
That's awesome.
That's a pretty good number.
Yeah.
And here, guess when the last time I bought a car from the auction was?
2 years ago?
It might be 3.
3? Wow.
And 40% of my inventory today at this moment is from private party acquisitions.
Wow.
So,
and that's where you get the better cars too. If people take care of if they're taking care of their stuff, which obviously, you're hoping.
You saw me smiling and giving a thumbs up to somebody that was driving by. So every time somebody buys a car from my buy center, they drive it around and I got a service lane right here. So they slow down and they're waving and they're all happy. It's like, it's a big deal. So he just drove by in a 2021 Bronco. Like things like that, you can't go to the auction and buy. And the average investment is 82%. And the average margin is over $4,000 a car. This is from people we would have never met and cars we could have never found anywhere else.
So
You
true.
can't tell me that that's not going to impact the whole company. Anyway, it's fun. I get excited.
Well, you got to have good inventory. You got to have unique inventory these days, and I don't think you're going to find those at the auction. And then everybody's out bidding each other there, and pretty soon, it is a race to the bottom, right? When you're trying to buy from an auction with everybody else.
Yep, for sure.
That's often the case. But what's awesome for any dealer inside of the community is to be the one that says, hey, I don't just want your check. I got a check for you and your ride, right? I want to make sure that I can do all things. And that's what I do love about the shift that has happened with everybody getting creative about trying to find a way to find cars, is they started having to deal directly with the customer at a different time. And it's proven to be very good to the bottom line, to the interaction that we have with the community and the customers. And if you're not, again, you hear David saying it, and we would beat that drum as loud and proud as we could, start a vehicle buying center, get something happening to where you are talking to the public about what you can put in their hand for what's inside of their driveway, and start a relationship from there, folks. I mean, goodness, it's good for everybody on that side.
Well, Lou, you'd be shocked to know the very last thing we ever talk about in the buy center, if at all, is asking the customer to buy a car from us. It's a simple, front sight focused, only a buy. It's not a, hey, now that we bought your car, do you want it?
Yeah.
It's none of that ever. It's a buy center. It's not a buy and try to sell you something center. It is a buy center only. Like there's a guy here yesterday, sold us his third car.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, I get really boned up about it because every single one of the stores that I've helped, 65 buy centers from here to Brazil, every single one of them that really invested in the time and energy it takes is killing it. Why do you think there's not a buy center on every corner impacting parts and service departments? Why do you think?
Knowledge and how to set it up. Infrastructure.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of hubris in this business, so everybody thinks they know how to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's really because it's too hard, right? So that's why. But anyway, that you guys asked me, that would be the one thing that I would say could impact all departments the quickest is open a buy center.
Well, let's talk a little bit. I mean, maybe expand on that. I know buying centers, obviously, you're buying vehicles from the public, but what about that service to sales relationship? How are you seeing that being a big part of your guys' world as far as, cars coming into the service lane, and then you have a process to, appraise that vehicle, sell, and then work towards a trade? Is that something you guys are focused on? I mean, everyone does it a little bit, but I've heard people hiring people internally. That's all they do. They just sit in the service lane and help those customers. What do you think about that?
So we stink at it. We're no good at it. I can tell you right up front. So we have QR code. Somebody can, take a picture and get an appraisal of their car in 2 minutes in any one of my service departments.
Mm-hmm.
But we do not do a good job mining our service department. Who does the best job that I know Patrick Abad does a great job. I know that Brian Benstock does the best of anybody on the service drive. We get the low-hanging fruit. We got a great relationship from service advisor to sales. So there's a symbiotic relationship, but we're not as intentional as we should be to really maximize that opportunity. That's just the truth.
So you think it's an opportunity? You just it's not something that you guys have necessarily, put a lot of stock in at this point, maybe due to personnel or just other initiatives, but you do think there is some value to it, right?
Huge value. There should be 2% of all your customer repair orders should convert. And we do not come close to that. So I do know there's a value there. It's just not a hill I can fight yet.
Understandable. Get it.
However, so I can talk to you guys about it because the appointment customer should get a link that they could get their appraisal, or at least let us know if they want their car appraised when they're in. Because I don't believe in a salesperson walking out. This is just me saying I'd like to appraise your car while the advisor is trying to do a walk around and take photos and do a menu. I don't think that's the way to go. But I do believe the night before the customer comes in, if they had the opportunity to say yes or no, I think that is a pleasant way to do it. But maybe I'm wrong, right? I'm not good at it, so I probably shouldn't even comment on it.
Well, I believe that the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement, right? So with that being the case, I'm sure that a lot of other dealers and fixed operations folks could pay attention to that and say, yeah, we can definitely sweep the corners inside of that room. We can definitely clean things up a little bit and streamline that, because it's low-hanging fruit, not so low-hanging fruit, budding, blossoms, whatever the case is, it's all fruit. It's all moving in the right direction, and we have to continue to try to see what we can squeeze. If a branch isn't producing, cool, let's move on and grow. But we have an operation that we can always find a way to get better. And we challenge you all, if this is an area that you need to dig into it. If you need some solutionaries to help you see what maybe you don't see, holler at us. We got your back. I know Owen will try to help you out, and I know that we will help you out. It's just very, very important that you are intentional in where you want to go. And just like David is saying, that's just not something that we're tackling now, but it is on the radar. Glad to hear that, and excited for that. But Solutionaries, those that are watching this right now on the live, make sure that you do let David know that you appreciate him taking the time to spend with us here on Fixed Ops Friday. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure that you shout him out, ask questions, and just reach out to him. One thing that I do know about David is he is an open book. If he knows, he'll share with you and be glad to point you in the right direction. But I'm just so thankful that we even had the time with you today. Owen, I really want to get this rocking and rolling. We already kind of alluded to the Forgive, Focus, Fly. But before we go ahead and do that and head out for the day, anything else you got out here for Mr. David Long?
No, I'm just, David, thanks for joining us. I know last Friday of the month, you're right home from a vacation. Hopefully you got a little recharge when you're over in Hawaii. It sounds like you had some fun, and we'll have to bring you back again, and we'll talk some more, and look forward to another fixed operation, all things fixed operations on Monday morning. And obviously, I'm always around, but I'll definitely be reaching out to you. I got a couple thoughts on some of the discussion. I'd love to jam with you a little bit, kind of off screen a little bit. So
I love it. Can I say two more things?
Yes,
Come
sir.
on.
Okay, first, if anybody has a topic that they want to table for all things fixed ops or all things used cars, send me a message on any one of the social media sites, or send me a text message if you have my number. That's the first thing. The second thing that I really have to say, there's nobody in the auto industry that's as blessed as me. You want to know why? Because of people like Fred and Lou and Owen and Cindy and Robert. I mean, the list of people that I have that sort of surround me and love me and help me and are there for me for whatever I need is ridiculous. So I just want to say to anybody that's watching that knows me, I am so grateful for all the things that people do for me without looking for anything in return. And that's why I am so free with information and time. So thank you to the auto industry that's been great for me for almost 4 decades. You have me till 2030, and then I'm done. You'll never find me again. I'm going to have a beard. I'm going to be selling ice cream on a beach somewhere, and you won't even know I'm still alive.
The countdown's on, huh?
You have till 2030, and then I'm gone. I'm disappearing. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that's always been so incredibly kind to me, especially Fred, Lou, and Owen. Thank you.
David, you obviously got a good track record yourself, and you help a lot of people that you don't ask for anything in return. So, paying it forward has always, kind of been my mantra in life, and I know it's yours. And so when you do that, good things will happen, and you surround yourself with good people. And, another reason why I enjoy every moment I get to spend with you, sir. So
thank you.
Yeah, we definitely do honor that. And speaking of mantras, let's go ahead and drop some of these F-bombs, everybody. Let's go. Saying thank you, David. Appreciate you. Well, everybody, you know what it is that we need to do. We need to go ahead and forgive, focus, and fly so we can end this show right. So go ahead and help us out with your hands on your shoulders. One time, everybody, loud and proud. Forgive, focus, fly. 1, 2, 3. Forgive, focus, fly. And keep growing. Growing, everybody. appreciate you joining us for Fix Ops Friday with Owen Moon and the one, the only, David Long. That's right, everybody. We'll see you all soon. Make sure that you tune in for the Fix Ops Friday flashbacks and make sure that you are ready for the next guest. Again, David, we honor you. We appreciate you. Have an incredible, incredible day. We're out, everybody. Just wait.
Thanks, David. See you, buddy.